Ganiyu Musa, from the hills of Bege to the summit of Insurers. Ganiyu Musa was born on the 6th of July 1963 in Iyara, headquarters of Ijumu local government area of Kogi State, to the family of late Alhaji Musa Eleniyi Famoroti, 1925 to 2003, and Alhaja Berikisu Musa, who is very much with us this evening. The son of a farmer and a second out of 9 siblings, Ganiyu grew up in a small but very beautiful agrarian community full of love and affection. While he started Quranic education earlier, GM, as is fondly called by his friends and associates, commences formal Western education in 1969 at the local Education Authority Primary School, Iyara. Despite being one of the youngest in his class, it did not take long for the school authorities to recognize his academic qualities, as he was promoted twice in a year, effectively skipping a class and completing his primary education in 5 years instead of the regular 6. He immediately enrolled at Ijumu Anglican Secondary School, IASS, now Ijumu Anglican Science Secondary School, Iyara, the only secondary school in the community at that time. Ganiyu is one of the great men produced by the school in the last 50 years who are doing very well in their chosen careers in and outside the country.
A number of people have asked me, or they wonder why I have Monday as part of my name. Again, it happened, should be around that late 78 or early 79 when we were preparing to register for WAEC. And the school principal insisted we had to have a third name. Up until that point, I only just knew myself as Ganiyu and my surname as Musa. I didn't know of any other third name, and it was a Monday morning, so we just told the principal to put Monday. That was how all my certificates now from the school start from 1979 to date, carry the appellage, Monday.
On completing his West African School Certificate examinations in 1979, he secured admission to the prestigious School of Basic Studies, Kwara College of Technology in Ilorin, where he sat and passed his baccalaureate exams moderated by the Cambridge University, England in 1981. GM began his Lagos journey in 1981 when he gained admission to study business administration at the University of Lagos, from where he graduated with BSc Honours degree at the age of 21, as one of the top 5 students in his class of 1984. He had his NYSC at All Hallows Seminary, Onitsha, where he enjoyed a year of seminary life while teaching prospective Reverend Fathers in mathematics, commerce, and business studies.
Lagos was fun for me as a local boy, as a village boy. It was the very first time, I was coming into to Lagos. Of course, being the best school in Nigeria, I was very proud of that, and I met quite a number of friends. Of course, I came out in the top 5 of my class then in 1984.
His foray into the fascinating world of accounting began in 1985 with his first job at Pernell Kerr Foster, an affiliate of PKF United Kingdom. There he wrote his professional accounting ICANN exams, winning the overall national first and third prizes in his PE1 and PE2 exams, respectively, at a time when ICANN was one of the toughest professional exams in the country. Those days, it was not uncommon for even brilliant students to attempt the exams several times before passing.
There was an interesting conversation in Pernell Foster. Then we had one of our senior colleagues who had written the ICANN exam probably more than 10 times, and we qualified at the same time. So he was throwing a big party. He came into the audit room where all the the trainees were, and was giving out invitation cards to everybody. When he got to my turn, he said, "You, Ganiyu, I'm not going to invite you to my party. because you don't value ICANN. I just wrote the exams and passed all I want, so you won't attend my party. It was fun, in those days. When I qualified, then I got invited by Anderson to, write their exams. I was coming in at the mid-level, professional. Then in 1989, I joined the firm of, Arthur Anderson, as it then was. It was the premier professional firm there in the country, without doubt, by a long mile. The recruitment was, rigorous. The training was exceptional. The client service was top-notch.
Having qualified with distinction, GM joined Arthur Anderson, the premier accounting consulting professional firm, in 1989. His time at Anderson laid a strong foundation in shaping his professional career and leadership style. He would go on to acquire additional educational and professional qualifications, including master's degree in banking and finance, fellowship of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, and senior membership of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, amongst others. GM has also attended numerous professional and leadership programs both at home and abroad, including Harvard Business School, Boston, New York Institute of Finance International Management Development, Lausanne, Switzerland, Euro Money Finance, London, Petroleum Extension PETEX, University of Texas at Houston, and others. Ganiyu Musa was no stranger to the insurance industry, having led the field work of the audit team of Shawkey and Company, member firm of Anderson, to audit the books of African Reinsurance Corporation, Africa Re, in 1990. And in 1991, GM subsequently joined the premier reinsurer as a young professional in 1992 and rose rapidly to the position of finance director in 1999, and later Deputy Managing Director in 2006, thus becoming the first Nigerian to hold such executive management position in the corporation's 30-year history. During his 19-year career at Africa Re, GM was exposed to and interacted with various aspects of international reinsurance and key players across the continent and the globe. He played a lead role in the creation and initial supervision of Africa Re's risk management function when risk management was not yet fashionable as a discipline, anchored the claims-paying ability, later financial strength rating, and supervised the design of the corporation's investment guidelines and asset allocation. Following the end of apartheid and the enthronement of majority rule in South Africa, GM was a key member of the team for the preparatory work and the eventual setting up of Africa Re's subsidiary in South Africa, where he subsequently served on the board and audit committee, as well as the Retakaful subsidiary in Cairo, Egypt. He left African Reinsurance Corporation in 2011 to join African Capital Alliance, ACA, a leading Pan-African private equity firm, as insurance sector specialist and a director of the board of Cornerstone Insurance PLC. He finally joined Cornerstone Insurance PLC in 2012 as a group managing director, chief executive officer, heading an exciting team focused on delivering the company's core mandate to run a professional, ethical, and profitable insurance institution that transforms the industry. GM is a member of the board of directors of Oak Pensions, PFA Limited, and FHN Nigeria Limited. In addition to his current role as chairman of the Nigerian Insurers Association, he is the chairman of the Council of Bureaus, ECOWAS Brown Card Scheme, and a member of the Governing Council of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, CIIN, amongst others. Knowing firsthand how education could transform the life of the son of a peasant farmer, Ganiyu Musa has adopted a lifelong calling of quietly assisting everyone he's able to, especially the indigent and disadvantaged, acquire potential life-transforming education. It is a cause he remains passionate about. GM got married to his jewel, Ganiyu Musa ni Bayere, who has continued to tolerate him since 1989, and the union is blessed with two wonderful children, Aminat and Mohammed.
I met my husband in a friend's house at Mushin, Mrs. Oladunmi Duteni, who happens to be the fiancée of my husband's friend. So the first day I met her, when I got there, she was not at home. Then that was when my husband just relocated from Kano to Lagos, and he was looking for an apartment. Since my friend was not at home, when they were going, the fiancé, who is my husband's friend, his name is Mr. Bisimi Duteni, when they were going, now say, instead of me staying at home, let us go together, the three of us. By the time we were going, I discovered that the man went forward and my husband stepped back. And he just told me that I'm looking for a house. This house I'm looking for, we are going to stay there together. I said, no, how can I stay in your house since I don't even know you before? And me, I have an apartment that I'm staying in. So then we went to the agent to look for the house. By the time the house was ready and he paid for the house, being an auditor is not always at home. By the time the house was ready, I was the one that even helped him to move his goods to the new apartment. So I know that maybe one day even ask me out or anything. Just from that, as if we are ordained from heaven to be husband and wife. And we had courtship for 2 years. I met him in 1990 and we got married in 1992. That is what happened. What attracted me to him is that he's very caring, and one thing is that he's very blunt. He told me, he said, my dad is a farmer, I'm from the village, if you want to marry me, marry me. That is what he said later, when we started going out. So I like him because he's very plain and he's generous and is a responsible somebody. I wish him the best.
We were very close. I like to think we're very similar. So we were able to connect both on a personal level, just having fun, laughing, playing, but also I feel like he made sure to invest the time in also teaching me a lot of important things around hard work, around dedication, around applying yourself. And the best example I can give for this is actually a project I had to work on in primary school. And we had to build the pyramids of Giza. And we could have very, very easily, just gone to the supermarket, bought some cardboard and made some pyramids. But no, that was not enough for him. And it was also not enough for me. And we actually turned it into something that was not only a bonding experience, but a learning experience. And we, did the whole process from getting red clay, building the bricks, building the pyramids brick by brick. And I think it took us the whole weekend, but of course it was something that turned out well. And that's just one example to kind of show that he's someone who is extremely dedicated to his family. He spent a lot of time with us, and he, in our relationship was not just someone that you could have fun with and play with, but also someone that you could learn with. And so, yeah, that's what it was like growing up with my dad.
I think I'd describe him as caring, hardworking, someone who's always there for you, and someone who likes to think that he's very funny. It was very interesting. He worked a lot, obviously, but even despite the heavy workload, he would be there to help with anything. I used to struggle with fractions back then, and he would sit and explain it and do all my homework, help me with my projects. So despite the heavy workload, he was definitely still there whenever we needed him. He'll bring decades of experience, certainly. He'll bring fresh perspective, strong work ethic, and a bold vision. I'm sure of that.
It's a very difficult time for everybody. Of course, even before we talk about the business, our hearts, have to go out to all the people that have lost, loved ones as a result of the pandemic. Businesses can be rebuilt. Unfortunately, lives lost, is irreparable. So we extend our condolences in that. And it is for moments like this that insurance is built. That is the reason, because we know stuff happen in life, okay? Bad things happen to good people. And that is the reason why the core principle of insurance is to enable individuals go about their normal businesses irrespective of what life throws at them. And for us as NIA, again, it was an opportunity to demonstrate the value of insurance. Apart from the fact that we have paid and we continue to pay on current claims, the outbreak or the onset of the pandemic, we rallied around as an industry and provided substantial support to the federal government to help in the fight against the initial outset of COVID. We extended free life cover to the frontline staff in terms of the doctors and the other healthcare staff. And in fact, as at the last count, we have had more than 20 billion naira in reported claims, of which we have settled over 5 billion, and we continue to adjust the valid claims and settle them as they occur. The job of NIA chairman is I would say it's largely ceremonial. The real heavy lifting is done by the secretariat, and I've been blessed to be able to work with an exceptionally talented and gifted DG, that's the Director General of NIA, that's Mrs. Ilori, who has made the job of the chairman for me a lot easier and a lot more interesting. So I do owe her and her colleagues at the secretariat of the NIA a lot of the depth of gratitude.
It is my pleasure as the DG of Nigerian Insurance Association to congratulate Mr. Ganiyu Musa, the 24th chairman of Nigerian Insurance Association. Mr. Ganiyu Musa, fondly referred to as GM, came in to office at a time when the industry was going through and is still going through a kind of transformation. I have been working with him for the past 1 year, and it's such a pleasure to work with a thorough man, a thoroughbred professional, a man who has eyes for details, a man that will not compromise standard. He believes in the best and is always going for the best. I wish him the very best in the next 1 year as he sits herein as the chairman, driving the affairs of the association and the entire industry. And I believe with him, transformation is going to be a reality. All the best, GM.
Ganiyu Musa was a member of the Governing Council of the Nigerian Insurers Association at the time that we were considering succession. Because succession to the position of the chairmanship of the association is limited to members of council and members of council that meet the requirements. So indeed, Ganiyu Musa was one of those who met the requirements at the time. Beyond that, I have known Ganiyu Musa for a while, and I've observed him, and I found out that he's well educated, very well experienced, and indeed he had the capacity to take our association to the next level. So I had no hesitation in my mind at all that he will be able to continue from where some of us would stop. It was a bit difficult for him to accept because at the time he didn't feel he was going to stay so long in his current job, which would qualify him for that position. Bear in mind that you can only serve on the council of the NIA if you are a CEO of a member company. So he wasn't very sure, but to me, I felt, take it on. When we get to that point of the road, we'll see how we can move forward. And indeed, he took on the assignment. Today we know better. He has demonstrated so much of capacity capacity in the handling of council matters, capacity in CEOs' engagement, capacity in stakeholders' engagement. And we're talking about stakeholders. I think he has done very well in engaging regulator, the National Insurance Commission. He has done very well in engaging the National Assembly, bearing in mind that the times we are passing through, we have so much in our hands in terms of what we need to partner the regulator and the legislators in doing. So much of reforms are going on in the industry, initiated by the regulator. He has to lead the industry in ensuring that whatever the future of the industry is acceptable to all concerned. At the same time, we are talking about resetting the law, the legal framework for the industry, and this has to do with the National Assembly. We also need a leader. So he has demonstrated so much of capacity, and I'm glad that I was one of those who motivated him to take on this position.
Of course, like we all know, we are also going through another round of recapitalization, which for us as NIA we believe is a welcome development. Indeed, we as an industry came together in 2017 to put together what we call our industry roadmap, and one of the levers that we considered, or the pillars, was the need for adequate and appropriate capital, because we do believe that a very well capitalized industry is necessary to be able to deliver on our promise as underwriters. Okay. Well, I have been blessed really to have worked on this project with a number of very brilliant minds. First, I have to mention specifically the past president, DFA Koha. It wasn't my intention really to put my name forward for the leadership of the association. I think he was the primary individual who encouraged me, and despite my protestations, actually said, look, GM, you need to do this. We need your capacity in the industry, and we didn't even know it was going to happen at time like this. So I say a very big thank you to Eddie specifically, and all the other members of the governing council who have made my job as a chairman very, very enjoyable, and especially at this time when we're really trying to correct a number of the misinformation, a number of the sentiments, mostly negative sentiments about the industry, and also working with the regulator. Of course, I cannot conclude this without mentioning the regulator, which is NICOM. Again, I have been blessed in the sense that my chairmanship has coincided with the tenure of the Commissioner of Insurance, who is both a brother and a personal friend, much dating back far before he became the Commissioner of Insurance. So that has made the interaction, has made the engagement, a lot more open, a lot more transparent, a lot more consistent. So, Mr. Sunday Olorun Dare Thomas, I thank you very much. Of course, because we now work on the different sides of the same industry. So obviously we have areas of disagreement once in a while. But the good thing is that there's nothing that is big enough that we're unable to work together to resolve. Of course, for my directors and Cornerstone, especially the chairman of the board of directors of Cornerstone, Mr. Segun Adebanji, a perfect gentleman. We had some very rough times in Cornerstone maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but his wealth of experience, his calmness, his stability, really saw us through, and we were able to turn around things. In fact, we surprised ourselves, so to speak. Whatever exceptional results we have been able to achieve, I would say, really is thanks in a large part to, Mr. Segun Adebanji, who has been there, for me personally, and also as a calming influence, on the board. Of course, my colleagues at, African Capital Alliance with Okene Lama, Steve Iwenjora, and Paul Kokoricha have also been supportive.
He keeps fit at his gymnasium, swims wherever he can, and plays golf to unwind.
Yeah.